Hey everybody, this is PJ Riley from Lancaster Archery down here on our Academy shooting range, and that means it is target bow time. So we have a great new bow from PSE. This is called the Dominator Duo. There are lots of options for this bow that we're going to tell you about, but right off the bat what I can tell you is this is an awesome shooting target bow with that shoot through riser, and it's got some extra cool features that I personally haven't played with before that I'm excited to tell you about. But before we get into that, let's tell you about the specs for the Dominator Duo. The PSE Dominator Duo 40 with the M2 cam measures 40 inches axle to axle. It's got an IBO speed rating of 340 feet per second, brace height of 7 1/4 inches. The let-off is going to be adjustable from 65 to 75%. The draw length range is going to be on a rotating mod from 27 to 31 inches. It's going to be available in peak draw weights of 50 and 60 pounds, and the bow itself is going to weigh 5.2 pounds. All right, so the Dominator Duo. First off, before we dive into what's unique about these bows, I am holding here the 40. There is a 38 and a 35 inch available as well, and there's going to be 3 cams. I have the M2 cam, which is probably going to be one of the most popular for target archers. This is going to be the most aggressive cam with your fastest speeds, and then you're going to have the S2 cam, which is going to be a little bit slower but a little bit more forgiving in that back end, and then you're going to have the SE cam, which is going to be even more forgiving on that draw cycle. All right, so I got to get Dominator Duo, that name Duo, I got to get that out of the way first, because that's probably what's most unique about this bow, in that this is a completely ambidextrous bow. So why is that of interest to archers? Well, first off, it's probably going to be pro shops that are doing the switching back and forth. However, what it means to you lefties out there, it means that if a shop has this bow in stock, they have left-handed. You know, left-handed archers, you're always waiting for bow companies to come out with left-handed versions. Well, this is both. So as long as a shop has one, they have a left-handed version in stock. And for you bow shops out there, I can tell you that the conversion, there are a lot of steps to it. I was able to do it myself. I took this bow, it's right-handed, I took it to left-handed and then took it back. It does require disassembling the bow, but trust me, I am not mechanically inclined and I was able to do it. I feel very confident that if I'm able to do it, any of you out there are able to do it as well. But that is just a great feature to have an ambidextrous bow. That helps PSE in terms of some of the SKUs that they have to put out. You know, they're only building one riser. But again, like I mentioned, left-handed archers often are waiting months. You know, a bow comes out and there are right-handed versions immediately available. Lefties are waiting for months and months. This bow, as soon as it's out, there's a left-handed bow that's available for you. Now, jumping into some cool features here. As we mentioned, there are 3 cams. I have the M2 cam here. This is the most aggressive. Now, I wanted to play with the most aggressive cams because I typically do not like aggressive cams. But this M2, it has adjustable let-off, 75, 70, and 65%. And it, at 75%, it still had a pretty nice back wall. It was nice valley that I could feel back there. I didn't feel like it was going to pull me forward. So I was excited to have a 75% cam that I could shoot comfortably. Now, one of the other new features that you're going to see on the Dominator Duo, you're going to see these little pegs down here. So what we have, this is, at our time that we're filming this, PSE has not named them yet. I don't know if they will have a name, but basically what they are is these are the spacers. So PSE cams historically have used a series of washers, which is a very good system. However, you know, there could be a lot of washers in there. They were easy to lose once you take that axle out, and you did have to press the bow, take the axle out. These new spacers in here, these are clip-on spacers, so you do not have to take that axle out. PSE has a special tool. You're going to put this bow in a press, take the tool, pop the one spacer out, move the cam, and then you're going to put the spacer back in. What they have is a series of 6 different size spacers. and you're going to match up any two that come out with a total measurement of 0.220. The number's engraved right on each spacer. So as we mentioned, there's going to be 6 sizes. The smallest is going to be 0.060, and the largest is going to be 0.160. So the different sizes in there, you're just going to match them up. As long as you come out with 0.220, you're going to have the correct spacing in between the limbs for that cam. And you know, like I mentioned, I did play around with that, put this bow in a press, took the pressure off, popped the spacer out. The cam moves freely only when it's in the bow press. You're going to put it in the press, pop the spacer out, move the cam, and then put whatever spacers in that you need to get your tune. All right, coming down to the limb pocket. This is a pocket that PSE has been using for a couple years now. It is nice and wide, and it does also include this stop feature back here. So you can see I've got this Allen screw that's gonna capture the limbs here, and of course they're captured in the pocket. With them captured in 2 places, you never have to worry about those limbs shifting at any time while you're shooting them. Coming down the bow, as we mentioned, this is a shoot-through riser. So PSE has had shoot-through risers in the past. It just makes these bows really stiff. It gives them some extra weight, makes them super solid to hold at full draw. That's just a, you know, tried and true system, that shoot-through riser that they've incorporated into this bow. Then you'll notice some more threaded holes here. This is going to be where you would move your cable arm to. You're just going to take that and swap it to the other side. That's part of the transition process going between left and right-handed. But when it is in place, this is a fixed position cable arm, not the dog leg anymore. So you don't have to worry about it coming loose and that dog leg, you know, shifting a little bit, changing the load on those cables. That's going to change the performance of the bow. Cannot happen with this one. However, you do have this screw on top here, so you can move that arm and then lock it into place. If you want to change that cable position, you know, in your tuning, or if you're switching between skinny arrows with small fletchings to big indoors and those giant fletchings, you are able to move that to get cable clearance if you need it. We do have PSE's new roller guide here. You can see the cables are going through rollers, and then there's rollers running on the backside of the cable arm. That just helps with that smooth draw cycle. Super nice, that thing rolling across there. Coming down, we do have your typical PSE grip. This is a grip style that PSE has been running for years. You can see that very vertical position of the bow and the riser. So it's going to put your hand in a very neutral position. The flex point is just about dead even with the back of that grip there. So that's just a very neutral position, they call it, when you're holding that bow. And when you're drawing back, your limbs are flexing this way. When you shoot, it feels like the bow is going forward. You get a lot of feedback forward towards the target, which is nice. Coming down, you know, PSE giving you lots of options. You got multiple rear positions for your stabilizer. You know, if you want to put a side rod on, you can put one up high. That's probably the traditional position. You can get it down even lower if you prefer. You can see I've got mine attached to the front. Standard stabilizer bushing, I just run the side rod from that position. However you like to set them up, you can do it. All right, so something else PSE kept over to the Dominator Duo is this device right here. This is called their Precision Bus Tuning System. So probably the biggest benefit to the consumers of that is that previously these a set of strings and cables would be 5 pieces. This would be a free-floating yoke, and it would attach to this plastic piece, and then your cable would attach to it as well, but they would be separate. So then when you're going to get a replacement set of strings and cables, it's 5 pieces. With this precision bus system, this is one continuous cable that crosses over and then splits into 2 yokes coming up here. So now it's just a 3-piece set. That's going to save you some money when you go to replace them. The other purpose of it is you can do some yoke tuning, you know, by twisting one side and untwisting the other. That will affect that cam lean a little bit if you're really dialing in that paper tune to get that cam position right. Okay, so shooting the Dominator Duo. As I mentioned, I have the 40 with the M2 cams, so that's the experience that I was playing with, and I just liked it. This year in particular, I've been falling in love with 75% let off. I shoot a hinge, and I found that 75% let off is more favorable to getting that hinge to roll over. I can activate shots better while I'm holding on target. There's not as much pin movement. I found that with this M2 cam, and as I said, I was eager to play with this one because I knew it was the most aggressive, which usually worries me. But the M2, I was able to get comfortable with the back wall. That's where I typically feel uncomfortable with aggressive cams. But I was able to come into that back wall, set my shoulder blades. I could hold, I could aim well. This thing holds wonderfully. 40-inch bows, I kind of like that length in bows anyway. And with that aggressive cam, I was able to get some good shots off. So PSE target bows, some of the best shooters in the world out there shooting them. Kyle Douglas, Sharon and Jack Wallace, Stefan Hansen, they have won lots of money shooting these bows. And I expect we're gonna see the Dominator Duo out there doing its thing as well. Just a great shooting target bow. This is a flagship target bow. It performs like that on the line. All right, so that is the PSE Dominator Duo. Great ambidextrous bow, target bow from the folks at PSE. Congrats to them for coming up with that technology. That's going to be of most benefit to you left-handed archers out there. You'll have this one available ASAP. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click that bell to get notifications whenever we put out new videos. And as always, if you have any questions, you can visit us at LancasterArchery.com.